Okay, so I'm finally at a stage where I'm installing the insulation in my ceiling. Lots and lots of debate about this as to how I was going to do it and what was the best way to do it and what's the most affordable way to do it. In the end, I've decided to do it with the XPS panels because I just think it's just better and less mess, and even though it's not the most cheap option, it's probably the better option. Pretty sure it's the better option actually. It's thicker, it's got a really good thermal rating. But one thing with the interesting thing about vans is that, you know, it's really hard to insulate a van. Let's just be honest about it. It's difficult to insulate a van. It's difficult to insulate it perfectly, and the reason for that is because you've got all the rails and everything. So even though you could insulate the main panels, when you get to the rails, you're going to have thinner insulation around the rails, so you're going to lose some, you're going to have some thermal conductivity around those rails. So, and anywhere you've got exposed steel, you're basically exposed to the outside. So whatever the outside temperature is eventually going to become the inside temperature if you're not doing something with your heating or your cooling. So you know, so there's those problems, and then the other problem, of course, is that even if you would insulate everything, let's assume that you could insulate all the rails and everything. Well, most camper vans have windows, and mine's got lots of windows, and windows are just poor insulators. So, you know, I could insulate the whole inside of the van, get it all perfect, spend a lot of time on it, spend a lot of money on it, and then I've got this thermal problem called a window, and the windows obviously let a lot of heat in. The majority of the heat comes in through the windows, and that becomes a huge problem. So I mean, I see posts and I see things where people are saying, oh, what do I do about my windows? My windows were a huge problem, so I just painted them over or blacked them out or got rid of them or did something else with them, put silver foil in them or whatever they could do to reflect the heat to try and get the heat down. So I don't really know how to solve that problem, to be honest. I don't think it's really that solvable. One of the things I'm going to probably do in mine is I'm going to look at getting some sort of perspex kind of inserts made for the insides, and I'll put wooden surrounds around my windows, and then I could have like a second layer of perspex to, you know, hopefully get rid of some of that thermal gap kind of thing that's going on with the windows. How effective it will be, I don't know. I guess it's more effective because it's kind of like having a double glazed window, but it's one of those things I'm going to have to experiment with, and I'm going to have to play with, and I don't even know where to get the stuff at the moment. I certainly don't know where to get it at the right price, so it's not on the cards to immediately do it, but I think I'll probably have to do it somewhere along the line. And the other thing I'll probably do with some of the windows is maybe look at getting ones that I can tint, maybe getting them tinted out silver or something like that, so that we can hopefully eliminate some of the heat coming in that way, and also to make it more private, because people wouldn't be able to look in the van quite so easily. But you know, I'm in Queensland, Australia. I don't know what the law is around this stuff. I have to sort of figure all of that stuff out. Anyway, I'll show you what I've done so far, and you can have a look and see what you think, and maybe to give you guys some ideas if you haven't already done this. So this is the roof of the van, and what I'm doing is I'm basically using high yield expanding foam, which is down here, this stuff here. I'm using this stuff to stick the panels up basically and fill the gaps. And I haven't filled all the gaps yet because I haven't been around. Once I get the panels up, I'll put the squirty end on that, and I'll go around and I'll fill all the edges and fill all the gaps. And then I've got the black Mori foam, which you can see in the background there on the rest of my panels, and that's more like a sound deadener, but it does have some sort of thermal rating, but it's a very low thermal rating, but it's better than nothing. And I'm going to be using that, you know, anywhere where I've got extra gaps like these rails through here. I will put more of that stuff over those. I mean, I could fill those, but the thing is I don't want to, because the thing is sometimes you want to run extra wires and you want to change things around a little bit, and you want to be able to think a little bit about future-proofing your van for future changes, or adding extra, you know, runs of wire or whatever you want to do, because you never know what you're going to want to do down the track. I guess for most of us, we sell a van and we buy something else and we start again. But anyway, I'm trying to be a little bit thoughtful with my van as to how I'm going to do it, and try and leave options open. So I think it's probably better not to fill those gaps, even though I could expanding foam them. I think I won't. I'll leave them open, but I'll cover them over with a bit of foam over the top of them, so I still can get it if I really need to. What else is going on here? I'm going to move my fuse box. I've bought all the wire to do that, so my fuse box is down there. I mean, it's at a hopeless place really. I mean, it was just mounted there for convenience really and for testing, but it's going to get moved. That'll get moved either probably tomorrow, I would say. So that's the other job that I've been doing. I've battened out my ceiling, ready to receive the ceiling panels and the wall panels. All that battens on the walls yet, but I have to do that as well. I've got more wires to run, speaker wires, stereo wires, camera wires and other wires. But yeah, looking forward to getting the ceiling in, and I'll show you what the ceiling consists of. So this is my ceiling panel, or one of my ceiling panels. This is the one that goes in the front of the van. Not all of it obviously, because there's a little bit that needs to clip on each side as well. But that's the basics of it. I made some templates and drilled all the holes out for the little kind of like mood lights which are in the ceiling there. So these lights will be dimmable. And it's all just a little bit different. I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing here again, because these are not lights that you could really replace. Well, you couldn't replace them how they are at the moment. I've just I've put them on the back of the panels here. They're glued in. The wiring's all glued in and routed into the back of there. But the thing is, it looks really nice when it's running. So I'll show you when it's running. I'll show you it running when I get it up in the van. But I don't know, I just wanted to do something different, and I think sometimes you just got to do something and just hope for the best. So I've tested this all out and it's all working, but I guess if the lights ever blow up eventually, which they would eventually, then what I'd have to do is I'd have to get a circular saw and cut some round holes and put different lights in there, because the wiring would still be there, but you wouldn't be able to fix these lights necessarily. So yeah, so that's really how things are at the moment with the van. That's about as far as I've got, working out the ceiling and working out the panels and running around and finding things and getting bits and picking kids up from school and doing all the other things has consumed lots and lots of time. And I'm just not as far along as I wanted to be. It's amazing. Like yesterday, the last 3 days really, I just spent a lot of time working out the ceiling panels, putting battens in and mucking around, and it just consumed lots and lots of time. And consequently, the ceiling is still not in the van yet. So hopefully this week we'll get the ceiling in the van, which would be awesome. Anyway, that's what I've done so far, and I'll talk to you a little bit later when I'm a little bit further along. Well, okay, finally I have the first roof panel in here. It's taken all of the week so far to get it in, but it's finally in there and stapled up with some glue behind it, so it's not coming down anytime soon. But it took a while because I've got all the insulation behind it, so yeah, that's really where all the time went. I've still got to get up around the edges and stuff like that, and I've got to put the panel in at the back because the panel at the back is still not there yet. But that's tomorrow's job, and I've got to install lights and route lights into that, so it's probably going to be another big job. It'll probably take all day as well, I would imagine. Maybe more than a day. All these jobs take more than a day. I've come to the conclusion they're all difficult. They're all hard. And I've got the wire too to move my fuse board and everything now, so I'm kind of looking forward to getting that moved. And I think I'm just going to turn the lights on tonight and muck around inside the van and get a little bit more of the noise reduction stuff up on the walls and things, just to kind of get the final part of that job done so that I can really start to line things properly. And once it's lined, then it's on to painting, and I can actually start building some cabinetry in here then properly, which is what I need to do. And I've got an idea for around the back doors and windows and where the bed goes and stuff, so I just kind of think I want to build a wall at the back, because trying to insulate around the doors is a real nightmare. And it's not just the fact that you're trying to insulate around the doors. I'll kind of show you what I mean. It's like, imagine it's raining, you have to go into the boot of your van for one reason or another, you need something out of there, and you have to open a door and it's bucketing with rain, and here it buckets with rain big time. And your bed is like right there, right? And you know what's going to happen, right? When you open that door, you need that thing out of the boot, but yeah, it's always a toss-up between do you go in the boot or not, because it's raining and the rain's going to get on your bedding and it's going to be a real hassle and a real headache. So so I'm thinking to make like a wall basically in here, basically around this this area down to that kind of level where the boot of or the trunk of the storage space of the van is, so that if I do need to open my back doors, well, my bed's not getting wet. And it also means that I could probably put mesh in the back window or something like that and have the back doors open, and there's just a whole bunch of things that I could do. So I'm definitely going to do that. I think that's worth doing. So yeah, as I work my way through this, I just come up with these new random ideas. Some of them are going to make it into production, and some maybe are not. But I think that's one that probably will make it into production because I think it makes sense. And so here we have the roof lights, or some of them. There'll be another row in the back once I get the back done, but they'll have to be spaced slightly differently because I have the Dometic in the back of there, but that's fine. I think I'm going to put another set in the back of there. Well, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't put another set in there because actually when I was planning this, I wasn't actually really thinking so much about the Dometic being in there. And one of the things that did get in my head was that like we're going to have the beds there, so I don't know if I want the lights shining down from the roof there. But for the main cabin, it's good. Maybe I'm going to put slightly more subtle lights in the back where the bedding area is. Yeah, well, this is how ideas are developed, is it not? So yeah, that's how they look, and I'm pretty happy with the result. I think they look pretty good. You know, from a replacement point of view, you'd have to, if you ever had a problem with the lights, you'd have to cut round holes or square holes or something. You'd have to put different kind of lights in there, flush mount lights or something like that if you've had an issue with these. But you know, it should last for a long time anyway before that ever happen. LED lights are usually pretty good. They're not like incandescent lights where every 5 minutes you're replacing them. So I'm hoping that it's all going to be okay and the wiring will all be okay. I'm pretty sure it will. I was pretty careful when I was soldering it all together to make sure it worked, and testing and soldering and testing again. So anyway, that's the day's work. So day's done now, so that's it. Well, here it is. I finally have the roof vent hole in. Yeah, it's a bit freaky cutting a hole in your van roof, I have to say. I've been contemplating this for a few days, measured it dozens of times, tried to make sure I centered it as best as possible, and then finally today I cut the hole. Looked sunny earlier, it still looks kind of sunny, but the clouds keep kind of setting in a little bit. So it's a little bit of a concern because there we go, radar detector's going off. What does that look like up ahead? We know exactly what that is. Yeah. And because I don't really want to have a shower while I've got a great big hole in my roof, and I really like to get the the silicone around the roof vent and hope that works and that I have no leaks. I've got a Silka product here which I'm going to use to do the to put around the put around the hole, but my concern really is just that the last guy, he'd siliconed it in with some terrible silicone, and I spent most of yesterday scraping that stuff out of the thing. And I'm kind of hoping that I've got enough of that out and that my stuff's going to stick to that, and if it doesn't, and also that it'll stick to plastic. It says it sticks to different substrates, but I'm a little bit concerned still. Anyway, so there it is, the hole. I've just put a bit of primer around the outside of where I've cut the hole because I don't want that, obviously the edges of it rusting if it gets damp or anything like that. Waiting for that to dry. I'm going to start prepping up the rest of the vent, actually ready to go in shortly, and start fitting it, and I'll put some temporary kind of blocks in behind it so I can screw it down and leave it there overnight while the glue and everything, or not the glue, sorry, the adhesive silicone sealer stuff sets, and then hopefully tomorrow I can get the rest of this roof in, which would be good. I'd like to get the roof in. Once the roof is in, I'll feel like I'd be a big coup, It's like the rest of it's fairly straightforward because you're not working upside down anymore, and just the rest of the job generally is easier. So that is it. That is the hole. Cut the hole just with my portable grinder, and that actually did cut this stuff pretty good, even though it didn't cut my roof racks properly. It was pretty good for this job. So perhaps I was a bit harsh last time when I said it was a completely useless tool. Because for this job it was actually pretty good, pretty handy, not being corded to anything, which was good. So for fine metals, I guess it's fine. And that's the vent that I'm going to use, the top part of it, which has got to have the sealant put all around the bottom of it and then placed into that hole, plonked into that hole. How did I measure the hole? CAD, of course, cardboard aided design, as per what most people would do. So there's like a little flange actually on the inside of that Dometic, so you have to make sure that your hole's big enough so that the flange actually sits just slightly inside of this. as well as the main flange. It's just on the outside of it, probably another 5 mils in or something. There's like a second kind of step almost, and that's got to sit inside this hole as well. So you've got to be aware of that when you cut the hole. Otherwise, if you cut the hole too small, you'll be cutting it again a second time. So I cut it all out in template, put this over the top of it, tested that it was all going to be perfect, which it is. Put this on the roof, taped it down, drew around it, and cut the hole out. Yeah, it seems to be pretty good. So that was my method anyway. So yeah, there you have it. One more job done, well, not done, but half done. And one more step towards getting the van ready to go camping. And once again, I'd ideally like to use the van this weekend. So it'll be good to sort of get this just one step further along. I guess it's just like other people, you know, you want to use your van and you want it finished and you want both of those things, but you can't have them both at the same time generally, unless you've got some big budget to pay someone to do it, or a whole heap of time on your hands and don't need to do anything else. I always need to do 50 other things and this, and try and go camping as well.
Are you
camping? Are you camping, Jonah? Are you doing camping?
Let's see.
You want to try and put it out?
What?
I don't know where it is. I'm trying to find it.
Hi! Hello, Dad. So, welcome to the future.
So here we are, Hervy Bay Campground. Haven't been here before. It probably took us about, from Brisbane, well, we're in Caboolture or Upper Caboolture, so it took us about 3 hours to drive here, I guess, at a leisurely camper van pace, which, well, I shouldn't say a leisurely camper van pace, because we were in a bit of a hurry to get here because we had a deadline to meet. We couldn't leave until late afternoon, so we didn't get to go until almost 2 o'clock. We had to be here by 6. Otherwise, there's, well, you know, if you get here after 6, basically you get charged a late fee, $10 I think, up until 7 per person, or not per person, per campsite. And we had 2 campsites, or after that you got charged, if you were here after 7, I think it was $15 per campsite. So we were keen to avoid that. So what did it cost us to come here? It cost us basically $100 for $120 for a couple of nights. We got charged an extra person because we have 2 kids, and they charge, I think it's $33 a night if it's just 2 of you, and for each extra person there's I think it's an $11 charge or something like that. So not an overly expensive weekend, bit of fun. It's been really hot since we got here, of course. It's feeling like full-on summer up here. We pretty much slept last night at the van, even with the insulation and everything, just with pretty much nothing, you know, just on top of the bed. And very early in the morning, when it got a little bit cooler, I don't know, maybe like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning or something, we put a sheet over the top of ourselves. That was pretty much it. It's pretty tropical up here, certainly not cold. So there's the amenities over there in the centre. Pretty reasonable showers, toilets. It was pretty clean in there, pretty good overall. We haven't been anywhere yet. We've, you know, this is our first morning here. We're just kind of having a really late brunch. We're just cooking at the moment, and then after that we're going to head out and go somewhere and go and have a look and see what's around. It's pretty cool to see the small homes here. People do some good stuff for campers. So as you can see, people get pretty inventive. And up here it's probably a pretty nice lifestyle, I would imagine. Oh, now that's a camper home there. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, Australia, it's amazing. Like, there's some really good campers over here. There's some companies that make some pretty good stuff. Maybe they sell the stuff overseas as well, I'm not sure, but they make 4-wheel drive trailers and everything. So we've kind of done a half lap of the park here. Just going to head back around the other side. The swimming pool here as well. The beach is really close, so we're going to head up to the beach a little bit later and go and have a look and see what that's like. I think that'll be pretty good once we get out to the beach. I mean, one of the things for us that each time we take the van out, of course, is that it makes us aware of all the things we don't have for travelling with a family. So you kind of learn something each time you go out. So we've kind of figured out, you know, I mean, we had a good idea of the things that we needed and didn't have. But one of the things that I would have thought that we could probably do without would have been a toilet and a shower. But now I'm thinking with the kids, like if I did another build, I'd definitely do a bigger van, and I'd definitely have a toilet and shower in my van for sure. Just simply because the amenities often when you go to places, even though they're okay, they're just there. They're okay, and it would just be so much nicer to have a really decent, really clean, you know, bathroom like out of a motel or out of a pretty decent hotel in the back of your camper. Well, that's got to be so much better to do that. So that's what I'm keen to get happening. But it can't happen in this build. I mean, just the seat layout and everything I had to live with that. Otherwise, I would have had to spend a whole lot more money to change it all around, and I simply didn't want to spend the money. It just would have cost too much for an older van. I just felt that it wasn't worth it. So, but the next van for sure I'm going to do that. I think I'll probably convert my little van as well. So we brought the little van out with my mates, and we're using that as well. But that van's, you know, just a van, just a commercial van. It's not converted at all. And it certainly would be good to convert it, because if we converted it, we could, you know, we could rent it out. And we might even keep both vans and rent them out and buy another van and do another van as well. But, you know, we have to think about the coronavirus thing. That kind of affects tourism a reasonable amount. It could affect your income if you're not careful. So we have to sort of be aware of that kind of stuff. But there are ideas. But anyway, I mean, we could certainly fix a van and sell it. I mean, a lot of these big mobile homes here, they're connected up permanently. Well, not permanently, but semi-permanently. And this is the first time I've seen this, because this camping kind of lark is all kind of new to me. So, you know, permanent waste going down the drain, permanent water going into the camper vans. That'd certainly be a good setup for your van for sure. Especially if you come somewhere like this, that means you can pretty much have all the water you want. You can have all the showers you want inside your own vehicle, which is way better. So I got my van over here anyway. One other thing I do need inside the van is I definitely need to get a fan happening in there. So in these hot days, the insulation is really, really good. It makes a huge difference, but it's still, you still need the air movement. When you get the air movement happening, it makes a huge difference to being able to cool yourself down. And the other thing that we found out today was that the caravan awning, the tent that goes on the awning, is the wrong size for the awning, of course. It's the first time we've ever used it, so we've kind of discovered it a bit on the late side, but otherwise everything's working pretty good. Lunch in the shade of the trees. Where are we, Mark, again?
Hervy Bay.
Hervy Bay. It's not Hervy Bay, is it?
Well, yeah, you could Hervy Bay or Hervy Bay, or away from home.
Yeah, not at home, right? And lunch.
Yeah.
Because you should have a meaty lunch, because that's important. Otherwise you might get hungry while you're camping. You don't be hungry when you're camping.
I think we've got corn over here too.
Oh, corn. Show the corn. No, we've got an empty pot. So what are we doing today? Cooking lunch.
Yes.
Nice piece, big piece of steak.
Yeah. Have lunch today.
And how are we seasoning it?
I don't know.
Bit of salt and pepper.
So the pepper, that's it.
We can salt it even more if you want.
You know, I have some spices in the van as well. Do you want me to bring the other spices here?
What is it?
I don't know.
Other herbs and spices.
I can't even remember what's there. What's in the pots, Gene?
This one?
Oh, corn.
What is that? It's right there. Yeah.
No, it's just a bug.
Hey, take it out. Look back in the
It's
pot.
only a stink bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll.
Look at that. This is a harmless,
Oh, that is just.
it's a harmless little bug. See?
Yeah, I know what they are.
Cockroach, huh?
It's not a cockroach.
Oh, you can smell it already. It's doing its stink thing.
Hey, wash your hand there, huh?
So here we are at the beach. Got a feeling you can't get onto the beach here at the moment. Ah. And unfortunately, anyway, here it is. This is the beach. Well, the bay, Hervy Bay, Hervy Bay. So one of the things that's really great about Australia, that Australia does really well, is playgrounds. I mean, we used to be at a stage where, you know, government regulation and everything was so crazy that people were almost scared to look at their shadows, because everything had to be bubble wrapped and cushion wrapped and all the rest. But as other people have said, we seem to have slowly moved away from that, and now we've got these pretty good playgrounds again. And here's no exception to the rule. There's just some really great playgrounds, and a lot of places in Australia, they have got these really, really great places where kids can play. Hours, sunrise to sunset, Sunday to Thursday, Friday and Saturday, sunrise to 8:30 p.m. Don't know what happens if you skate in here after 8:30 p.m. Maybe that's illegal. Yeah, so often you hear about the scary wild things that can happen in Australia, the snakes, the spiders, the this, the that, and all the venomous things we have here. Yet for all of that, it's still a pretty amazing place. Looks like there's some sort of coffee machine over here. Of course, I haven't got my money on me. I think I'm gonna have to go and get my money, get my wallet, get myself some coffee. So yeah, it's a pretty amazing place to live. It's just an amazing place to be. So sunny all the time, so warm. Just the complete opposite of where I was in New Zealand, in Wellington, where it was often windy and not even so much just windy, but cold a lot of the time. A lot of seasons is just cold there. Not that that's a bad place to be neither. It's a pretty interesting place as well, but this is just so much more tropical. It's just so different. And that's the interesting thing when you travel and you go to these different places, is everywhere's just that little bit different. And New Zealand has some really, really great features, and it's just an amazing place, and Australia's the same. It's just an amazing, amazing place. Just so many things to see and so many places to go, and the trees and the landscape and the rocks and everything are just amazing. They have a ton of adventure things you can do here. So if you've got money to burn and money to spend, you can go on all kinds of tours out here. I think they have whale watching and other things. What do they call it? The Southern Barrier Reef is out here somewhere. I'm just pretty sure you can dive off that. That probably is pretty amazing as well. And if you want to, you can do what we're doing, and you can have lunch just under a tree. So we're off to find the coffee cart down the road down here and get ourselves a decent coffee. The ladies are telling us that we should just have, what is it called again? Instant coffee.
Well,
Do you call it instant coffee?
Moccona.
Do you call it instant coffee in Australia though too, don't you?
Yeah, but it's Moccona.
Moccona, yeah. So it's Moccona. It's kind of the best of the instant coffees that you can get. But
This don't have international roast.
yeah, that would be like the worst kind of brand. Well, I don't know. There's some sort of third world brands out there now that are pretty bad, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, down Dad buys some, I don't even know where he buys it from, man. Oh, from IGA or something. It's not even called IGA, is it, anymore? But yeah, that stuff's pretty rank, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
It's the same as like going in and getting black and gold brand coffee, you know.
Yeah, that's what he gets, black and gold brand coffee, that's what it is. It's exactly what he gets.
Well, that's as bad as international roast.
Yeah. So yeah. Is this what you call coffee snobbery though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're snobbing the wives for coffee.
Oh mate, we might have come at the wrong time. Looks like things might be closed up here, or we're on the wrong side of it.
Oh, that's fine. No, I think we're not on the wrong side of it.
The wrong time. Maybe our timing's really terrible.
Could be.
Looks like everyone's closing up.
Oh, this one's still open. The foodie's still open.
Oh yeah, there's smoke going on down there, so that's probably a good sign, eh?
Yeah.
Maybe people are sitting up now, so maybe we have come at the right time. Oh yeah, we have, yeah. I think we have. Haven't we? Or have we? Nah, we're either too late or too early.
I don't know. We've missed out on the band.
Come on early for trade for stall holders, isn't it?
Come down to get coffee.
I'm going to get
I think we've.
Not till 4 p.m.
What about fruit door? If I come around the back?
So 4 p.m. 4 p.m. is when they start selling coffee,
yeah,
is
well,
it?
they're going to have the band here and everything too.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
So we might as well stay here until. Wow! Look at that water park.
Oh, dude,
Kids are going to love that.
better go over there and have a look as well.
Oh, mate, I can't believe it.
So here we have some sort of water adventure thing. Oh, and maybe coffee here. Yeah, I think we can get coffee here. There's coffee here too, dude.
Why do you just put
Check this out. What did I say about Australians and parks? Australians make some good parks, right?
Yeah.
They've got good at it over the years, right?
They certainly have.
With coffee, dude, 500 paces from us.
Yeah, we'll go and get a coffee.
Yeah.
Go and get coffee.
We're on this mission to try and get ourselves a coffee, and so far it's been a disaster because, as you saw back there, we were too early for the stall holders back there, but there's a shop here, so that'll do what we want. Coffee. Well, after all of that, the fish and chip shop had coffee, so
Yep.
we have coffee. We're sorted. It was a bit of a wait because they're the only place that was basically doing much of anything, really, eh?
Bit of a wait and a bit of a walk. But coffee.
Exactly. So we're happy chappies now.